Hi, it is February 28th, 2020, and I hopped back on because I had a message when I was lying in bed last night that reminded me that 6 months ago when I first started these videos, or 5 months ago, I had predicted that when the Mercury of the United States, which is 24 degrees, 11 minutes of Cancer, would come into a direct opposition with Pluto in the heavens right now, that there would be some kind of muzzling of information. There would be some kind of way that the gates were closed on getting the truth. Not that we've exactly been fed the truth for the last 3 years, or ever for that matter, from politicians, but in particular, this would be something serious, and this would be something to do with life-death situation, Pluto, and it would be hidden information that we would not have access to. So I hopped out of bed and I looked at the chart of the United States, and I saw the confirmation, yes, Mercury was 24 degrees, 11 minutes. And I looked at Pluto, and it was in Capricorn in direct opposition at 24 degrees, 11 minutes. So that moment when I got the message was exactly the confirmation of what we had seen last fall. And the United States Mercury is in Cancer. It's empathic, it's watery, it's communication in all forms, written, verbal, even gossip. It covers the lighter aspects of communication. Because it's in the house of Scorpio, it is a little bit behind the scenes and a little bit, here we go. Come on, Seisha man, come here. It's a little bit behind the scenes and a little bit more circumspect, and ruled by Pluto. When Pluto comes into opposition to that house, it's really absolutely dynamic, locking away of the truth. So that's what I feel is happening right now, and I feel that's why we're not allowed anymore to have reports by the health associations, for communicable diseases. The coronavirus has come on stage, and what they're doing has really caused a sense of, even for the Trumpsters, it's caused a fearful sense that the information they're being fed is either hidden away or isn't what they're saying is really going on. And the latest today was they came out and said that the reason that they have not been talking about the coronavirus is because the Democratic Party had been trying to impeach the president and had blocked their capabilities to be able to communicate on this subject, and it was all the fault of the Democrats. Which these kinds of locked doorways to the truth are not going to work anymore. Pluto's going to smash that open. When Pluto comes into opposition, as we showed the other day when Saturn and Pluto were opposing the president's Saturn, what a fiasco he's had to go through. Well, now with the Mercury, Pluto opposing that Mercury, this is going to be really that we're going to have to scrape beneath the surface, and we've already had a whistleblower come out from CDC to say that we have mishandled this from the beginning. So, sorry about the dogs today. Speaking of communication, Seisha man! It's usually Seisha, popcorn. He's really naughty. Okay, so the second thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to talk a little bit about astrology. I personally did not even start to study astrology until I was 50 years old. And I was a real skeptic about astrology, and I sat down, happened to open, I thought it was like malarkey, to quote Joe Biden. I thought that it had absolutely no grounded truth. I didn't realize it was the oldest of the sacred sciences, that the heavens were actually studied. The mysteries of the heavens gave birth to the science of astrology, and that the ancient Chaldeans, for hundreds and hundreds of years, observed the heavens and observed the qualities and impressions that and situations that occurred through the movements in the heavens. So it was scientifically recorded long before any other science. I started to become absolutely enthralled with what I call spiritual astrology. I started with a book by Isabel Hickey called Spiritual Astrology. It's a great launching pad. From there, it showed to me so much about myself, my own darker shadow, my proclivities, my behaviors. Everything was in that chart. And I thought, oh my God, if I'd read this 30 years ago, might have been a little nervous by the transits that were going to hit me and by the situations I was going to face in this life, because my chart is particularly prone to death and rebirth, maybe 8 or 10 times within one lifetime. But I became hooked, and I started studying astrology 6 hours a day for many, many years. And to this day, I still study astrology every day. It's not to say that I look at people and encapsulate them as a sign, or in fact, I had one dream where a bunch of ancient astrologers came to me in the dream, and they go, don't get too hooked into the signs. Look at the aspects in the chart. Look at the moon and see what's affecting that moon. That will tell you a lot more about the personality than the sign will tell you. So I started to look at it that way. I listened to them. They guide me all the time with the sort of deeper truths. And I moved into the more esoteric worlds where my knowledge of astrology expanded. And I sort of realized that this was an imprint from the heavens on our entire energy field at the moment of birth. This was our map that was given to us at the moment of birth. So I started to really respect it. And from there, I was asked, after about 5 years of this intense, profound study of astrology, I was asked by Nancy Bishop, the editor of Venice magazine, to become the spiritual astrologer for this well-known arts and entertainment magazine. So I did that for almost 17 years. And that was actually, as I wrote the column every month, and this was for mainly the Hollywood world of the stars and the film world. And as I started to write it, I started to go deeper and deeper and deeper into it, and hopefully injected some spiritual messages through people reading what they called my monthly horoscope. So I wanted to start with saying that all of us, we're in cycles, each of us. And when our birthday rolls around, for the next 52 days from our birthday, we move into what is our Mercury cycle. So we move into a very fast-paced, communicative cycle. So we go from just before our birthday feeling like in a very reflective mood, looking at our life and the past year of our life, to fast forward into wanting to get out there and come out of the cave and get things done. So we have our own individual yearly cycle, our solar cycle. We also have, if we look at the chart, according to what is our rising sign, when the sun crosses that point on your ascendant is when you start your solar year on your chart. So it may not be your birthday time that you will go into a Mercury period after your birthday, but you also will go into an expression of your own being, your personality on the time when the sun crosses your ascendant. So I wanted to take a look at March, because March is going to be a really, really powerful month, especially the last 10 days of March. Why is that? Well, it's because Mars right now in Capricorn, and Mars is slowly moving up to conjunct Pluto on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of this month. So expect things to heat up a lot this month. It's like a hot spot of the year, this period. Now, not only will Mars come up and sit on top of Pluto, and remember, Pluto is one of the rulers of Scorpio. Mars is the other ruler of Scorpio. Mars rules Aries and Scorpio. And before Pluto was discovered, Mars was considered to be the ruler of Scorpio, which is why the Scorpio is considered to be a pretty headstrong sign. Doesn't back down, right? Well, then the Mars in there on top of Pluto in Capricorn, there's going to be a lot of heating up of not just America, but of the world, because this is the world chart this is going to happen for. So we're probably going to see a heating up of the coronavirus. We're going to see a sense of people becoming fearful and self-protective and maybe overly aggressive. It's a bit of an explosive aspect. The other thing that's happening is that Jupiter's coming up there, and from the 17th to the 23rd, it's also going to sit on that Mars and that Pluto. So whatever Mars is doing to Pluto, Jupiter's just going to come in and expand it exponentially. So instead of Jupiter bringing the blessing in, Jupiter's bringing the exaggerated expression in. So I'm telling you about this because I want you to realize that at that time of the month, if you're feeling a little bit hot under the collar or feverish or repressed stuff coming up from within, go for a bike ride, work out with weights, do your yoga, get in a bath, cool the rash energies, get them moving in a positive way. Don't waste the energy. It's a very powerful, transformative energy, but don't do it to try to set everybody around you straight or to be overly abrasive or aggressive or say things that you're going to regret later on, because it's going to be a strong energy. And on top of that, that Mars is going to be opposing the Mercury of the United States. So that effect of that Mercury of the United States is going to be strengthened and exacerbated by this Mars conjunct Jupiter conjunct Pluto. So I'm just saying later this month, because this Pluto is going to be at that 24 degrees for the entire month. So it's going to be affecting the United States media, information, communication for the entire month very powerfully. And we might even see too amongst the Democratic Party a lot of internal battles. People need to keep a cool head right now. So it's like being on testosterone times 10 is how I would describe it. The other thing is that Mercury goes direct out of retrograde movement into what they call Mercury's shadow on the 10th of March, Greenwich Mean Time. So that would probably be the 9th of March on the west coast of the United States, because we're 8 hours behind, right? And so that is going to feel better. That's going to feel less victimized. And it's going to move back forward through Pisces over the next month. And I think it's in April that Mercury is going to, let me see what it is. Yeah, in April, Mercury will then move into Aries, which will then square the Mercury of the United States and square Pluto and the Mars and the Jupiter. So the other thing that's happening this month, this will be, is that Saturn is right now in the very high degrees of Capricorn. So it's affecting the later Capricorns, those born from about the 19th, 20th, 21st of January, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st of January. Those people have been going through a lot. And then, of course, anyone that's in the higher degrees of Libra or the higher degrees of Aries or in the higher degrees of Cancer, it's been opposing you and limiting and pushing at you. It's going to change signs and move into Aquarius. So it's going to shift out of Capricorn, where it's very comfortable because it's the ruler of Saturn is Capricorn. It's going to go into Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is a very forward-thinking, explosive Uranian sign. So it's a very, but it also has as one of its rulers, not just Uranus, but it also has Saturn as one of its rulers. So it's not going to sit terribly there. It's going to go into Aquarius and it's going to stay there for 3 months, and it's going to retrograde back into Capricorn, and then it's going to go back forward, getting towards the end of the year, and that's going to be what I feel around the 21st of December as Jupiter moves into Aquarius and Saturn moves into Aquarius. I feel we're entering, tippy-toeing into the commencement of a new energy, a new way of being, a new life, a more humanitarian expression. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to feel less dense, less constricted, less traumatized. So, what else is happening? So you're going to see Saturn over the next 2.5 years, starting at the end of this year, move into Aquarius, and it's going to be in the same sign as the moon of the United States, which is in high degrees of Aquarius. So the next 2.5 years, the populace of the United States is going to go through a profound transformation. We're heading into a whole new expression, as I said in the other video. It's like a reconstruction of our country and worldwide that we really at this time have not conceived, unless we sit and meditate and try to let the vision of the new experience of humanity, of each other, and of the earth. It's going to be like, I would say that karmically we're going to feel more united, more of a desire to create union with others, with Saturn going into Aquarius and Jupiter. It's going to be more about embracing other nationalities, not so much divisiveness. So the other thing, I looked at the chart for today. As that Saturn moves up into Aquarius, it's going to square Uranus, but that's not really going to happen a lot until next year, which is going to crack open parts of our consciousness and give us a greater sense of less limited in our perspectives. So basically the main thing that I wanted to talk about today was that Mercury in the United States chart exactly opposing Pluto. And this month, really be discriminating in how you experience and express your own truth. And in the things that people tell you that are factual, do your homework, do your research, find out your own truth. Does that resonate inside with you, what you're being told, or is it nonsense? So that's going to be part of what I think is really going to be our focus this month, is on communication or lack thereof, and the battling in communication amongst the Democrats and amongst the Republicans. Because as the coronavirus grows and as the information about it is withheld or distorted, and yet people are not trusting that information to the same degree, I think that we're going to see a cracking of the shell of people's confidence in the Republican Party. And I think some of the Republicans are going to want to break away from their party. Not this month, but it could be the Waterloo, the hole in the dam. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on it. I'll give you some updates throughout the month as we get closer to this period. Take care of yourself. Don't go into too much fear over this virus. You're protected, and if you do your deep, gentle work with yourself and do self-care, and most of all, stay in a compassionate love energy, an energy of mercy. Remember that the less you are in a state of angst, anger, and anxiety, and the more you allow the light of divinity to flood through your being, the greater and stronger is your immune system, no matter what's affecting you right now. And so the path of mercy, the path of internal wisdom, and the path of allowing, and the path of relaxation and clarity is ever so important right now. God bless you, and don't forget to like if you like it, or subscribe, or please do post this on your page if it appeals to you. And in the meantime, God be with you, and may your days be filled with hope and inspiration. Thank you.